we can configure what we see on those 8 small boxes on the right side. All right, so this is something each of you is going to want to do prior to going to the field. So if we touch on the right side, we're going to touch on setup. And then up at the top, we're going to touch systems. I'm going to touch display. And now in the upper left, dashboard buttons. If I touch on any one of these boxes, that's saying I want to replace that one. So I'm going to touch on it and replace it. Here's the list of what I can replace it with. Seed release index. Basically what it means is, if SRI is at 0, it means every seed is right on the money, right where it should be, no variance. Right? Not even a 1/10 of an inch. So that's probably impossible to have it at 0. Right? An SRI of, say, 20, what it means is the first 2 standard deviations, which is 95% of your bell curve. So an SRI of 20 means 95% of my seeds fall within 20% plus or minus of my average spacing. So if my average spacing is 6 inches, 20% of that's 1.2. So 7.2 to 5.8. I know that's not the exact right math, but that range encompasses the spacing of 95% of my seeds. If my SRI is 10, it's plus or minus 10% that encompasses 95% of my seeds. So an SRI of 10 is this range. An SRI of 20 is twice as wide. An SRI of 30 is another third as wide. So essentially an SRI of 30 means your seeds are coming through past the sensor so erratically that we really can't calculate if they're singulated well or not. It's kind of like if I dumped them in a coffee cup and drilled them or not. You're going to know rhyme or reason to how they're being planted. SRI below 20 is where you should be. If you get up above 20, either the meter's performing poorly, the seed lubricant, maybe you're not using seed lubricant, there's an obstruction in the seed tube, whatever it might be. So I can set that system up here on the right side however I want. So I've got it set up like this, and now when I touch home, I see the same thing on that right side.